it on the side. Arena and tonight's men's volleyball matchup featuring the Highlanders of Cairn University and your Southern Virginia University Knights. President Wilcox and the Southern Virginia staff, thank you for your support of the student athletes and coaches participating in today's contest. In the spirit of good sportsmanship, they ask you to respect the following SVU athletic rules. Cheer loudly and proudly for your team, not against the visitors. No profanity, vulgarity, racist, or sexist remarks. No personal remarks towards the players, coaches, or officials. Show that you know the game. Stay away from the playing area and T-bench areas. Zero tolerance for alcohol and tobacco use at all contests. Thank you for your cooperation and go Knights! In accordance with tradition at Southern Virginia University, we will begin with a word of prayer which will be offered by Brielle Yusevich.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful for this day and the opportunity that we have to be here and to enjoy a sport that we love. We pray that everyone will play safe and have good sportsmanship and we can avoid injury. We love you and pray these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Now, if you all please rise and face the flag for the playing of our national anthem. Thank you. And now for your starting lineups. Starting for the Highlanders of Cairn University. A middle blocker, junior, number 4, Caleb Myers. An outside hitter, junior, number 5, Ben Norton. At center, a senior, number 7, Ryan Ludwig. At middle blocker, a sophomore, number 9, Anton DeLeon. Outside hitter, a sophomore, number 10.
You are sitting in the best season house, and we are thrilled to join you. Hello once again, everybody. Chris Fry alongside Dawson Weidrich. We welcome you to the barn. Dawson, a great matchup today between two pretty good teams. The 10th team in the nation, Southern Virginia Knights, headed it against the Highlanders of Cairn College.
And it's a conference game, so it's always going to be exciting when we face off against a team that affects the outcome of your conference play at the end of the season. And Cairn coming in 3-10, 1-4, not having the best of season, but they've been very competitive in all their games. And you have your starters here for SVU. We had a game yesterday against the Newman Knights where a lot of the bench players for SVU got a chance to get some action here, and we were able to get the sweep win. But these starters we have back to the original, what we're used to seeing: Paul Clark, Mark Stapley, Mitch Yusevich, Kaipo Tagaloa, Colby Wilson, and Nowell Rickabaran. All these guys who have done so well to start off the season for the Knights.
Dawson, the last game that the Southern Virginia Knights had facing off against the Newman Knights, you mentioned a lot of those players that don't see the floor as much as maybe they'd like to, getting their time to shine under Coach Tom Peterson's system. That due to the fact that they knew Newman was an inferior team compared to them. Southern Virginia holding their top 10 ranking pretty early into the season, 13 games into the season, and what a season it has been for Southern Virginia. 12-1 right now, looking for their 10th win in a row. The only game they've lost so far today was here in the Knight Arena against Stevenson, another nationally ranked opponent, and that game went to 5 sets.
Yeah, that was a nail-biter to say the least in the last set. The Knights had a substantial lead, but then Stevenson was able to fight back and take that win. And again, like you said, they were a higher ranked opponent than SVU was. They were ranked number 6 at the time, and SVU was ranked number 8. And so as far as national rankings is concerned, it didn't hurt them a whole lot just because it proved well. Stevenson at that point was a higher ranked team. They were just a little bit lower and didn't really make it much of a difference. But since then, like you said, the Knights have just been on a terror. They have won 9 straight games coming into this game. Of course, learning a lot of lessons from that loss to Stevenson and applying those learned lessons through practice, through drills, in order to come back the way they have.
And Dawson, 8 of those 9 games that they've won during this reign of terror have been complete sweeps, 3-0 over top of their opponents. The last time they split sets with somebody was against Juniata way back Friday the 15th in February, where they won 3-2 over Juniata. Juniata, a nationally ranked opponent as well. So this Southern Virginia team reaching the heights that they know they can. The sky's the limit for Tom Peterson and these guys, and we'll see what they can put together today against the Highlanders of Cairn.
One thing I'm really looking forward to seeing is now Rick Barn in action. I mean, he's been so stellar all season. He has 141 kills in the season. If you put that in perspective, the leader in kills for Cairn, or the Highlanders of Cairn, is Anton De Leon, who has 70 kills in the season. So Noel having more than double the amount of kills. And that's just because he's just such a high flyer. His leaping ability is beyond, of course, it surpasses everyone on the score for SVU and many of the people in the conference. So he's able to get up high, hit it down hard. His spikes are some of the hardest that you'll see in Division or NCAA Division III, and so he's an exciting player to watch.
And he really is the exception. Him along with Cougar Clark, those outside hitters that the Knights have, 2 exceptional players, some of the top players in the nation, and we're privileged to have them here in small old Buena Vista. We'll see what the Knights usually do. The libero, Danny Aina, coming in for senior Colby Wilson to get things started for Southern Virginia. Just to mention a little bit of Daniel Aina, we mentioned before, he's top 30 in the nation for digs per set. If there's a ball that he has an opportunity to get to, he's going to put everything on the line and go for it.
Back to serve for the Highlanders, number 7.
And now we look to get action started. Back to serve first, number 7, Ryan Ludwig of Cairn. Ryan Ludwig, really the second option for this Cairn attack, right behind, like you mentioned before, I believe number 9, Anton DeLeon.
Yeah, and you're right. Ryan Ludwig has 58 kills in the season, and just like that, the Knights take the lead. But yeah, those 2 people that the Knights have to look out for. The Cairn goes to them a lot. Again, Anton De Leon and then Ryan Ludwig, each taking the lead in kills in this season.
We just saw there Cougar Clark spiking one down for the first points on the board for the Knights. A little bit about Cougar Clark. Dawson, he's the second leader in kills per set for this Knights team, right behind Rekha Baran. Both these players registering in the top 25 in the nation for kills per set.
And what's interesting is Cougar Clark and now Rekha Baran, the 2 kills leaders in this team, but very different approaches. Cougar is very passionate, very aggressive in his play, whereas Nawel, he's a very quiet guy, kind of does his thing, and, jumps 50 feet in the air like it's casual, And so just to see those 2 dynamics working together so well has been really fascinating this season.
Those 2 definitely the partnership to watch for this Southern Virginia team, but not to be outshined. We just saw Mark Stapley hammering one down there for Southern Virginia. And Dawson, we mentioned these players like Cougar Clark. Cougar Clark being one of the seniors on the team, Rekha Baran, a sophomore. Another sophomore, Mark Stapley, goes a little bit unnoticed just due to the fact of the sheer brilliance of Cougar Clark and Noel Rekha Baran, but he himself a formidable asset to this Knights squad.
And I think he showed his ability last night where he was able to be in with the second string against the Newman Knights, and he really showed what he can do. Again, he's a very quiet player, like you said, and that's just how his personality is as well. Like Noel Rekha Baran, he's very quiet, soft-spoken, but he gets the job done.
After that last point by Southern Virginia, Cougar Clark back to serve for his 3rd straight time, and Southern Virginia has taken a 4-0 lead against Cairn. Knights couldn't get to that one. Saw Rekha Baran sticking out his foot to try to keep it alive, but Cairn finally gets on the board. And back to serve for them will be number 10, Scott Bassel. Bassel, a sophomore outside hitter, standing at 6 for 3 from Haverton, Pennsylvania.
And anyone who knows volleyball just knows that last play was just due a lack of communication between the Knights.
No lack of communication on that attack from the Knights. Cougar Clark spiking it down with authority. Let's give the Knights the ball back and give them a 4-point lead yet again. And back to serve, Dawson. We mentioned the senior leadership of this team. Mitch Yusevich, the senior from Gilbert, Arizona, at that middle blocker spot. Just a formidable opponent. He's intimidating just to look at. Him standing right around 6'5", that middle blocker spot, knows volleyball in and out, and always gets the job done.
Right, absolutely. And he's not the most athletic guy in the world, but like you said, he gets the job done. He knows his stuff. He knows what to do. He knows his responsibilities, and he does it day in and day out.
We've seen an attack by the Knights. Call for by both squads, and then we saw number 13 of Cairn trying to spike the one over. That's Colin Benjamin comes off the hand of Benjamin and into the net. So now back to serve for the Knights will be Mark Stapley. We mentioned him before, the sophomore from Laguna Niguel, California. At that outside hitter spot in the last game against Newman, had a lot of opportunities to be the leader on the floor, which he doesn't really have when the seniors are on there. So expect him in the years to come. He's only a sophomore, and when he reaches that junior, senior year, he's going to be the go-to guy for Tom Peterson in this squad.
He absolutely is. I mean, we mentioned just all the simple things that he does right, and he does it so quietly. And again, like I said, in the coming years, he'll definitely be a big asset for this team.
And Mark Stapley again making his presence known. So 2 straight spikes down for sophomore Mark Stapley, and he'll go back to serve again for Southern Virginia. And that'll force head coach Nate Seidel of the Cairn Highlanders to take a timeout and a little bit of time to evaluate what the squad needs to do to chip away at this 6-point lead that Southern Virginia has built up over the last couple of points.
Well, I think what Cairn needs to do is take advantage of small mistakes that SVU has made so far in this game. They've been doing a lot of things well, with some great sets and then some great kills from Paul or Cougar Clark, Mark Stapley, and Noel Rickabarin. But there's been some small things that haven't quite gone right for the Knights. There was a couple plays ago where Mark Stapley set a ball right over the net, and Cairn had a chance to spike it down. Of course, it was blocked down by Colby Wilson. But things like that sometimes slip through the net for SVU that Cairn needs to take advantage of. And if they don't do that, SVU could easily run away with this game.
SVU has that capability to run away with the game like we saw against Newman. Service the story of that game against the Newman Knights. Knights of Southern Virginia racking up well over 15 service aces in that game. Will we see that today against Cairn? As Knights fans, we sure hope so, but I'm not exactly sure. You're up against a little bit more formidable squad in the Highlanders of Cairn, but if you can get just a fraction of what you had the other day against Newman in terms of your service, you're going to be set and golden for the rest of today's match. That serve by Stapley goes into the net. Cairn picks up a point on the service error by Mark Stapley. We just talked about service by the Knights, and then they proceed to have a service ace. So just the curse of the commentator making itself relevant yet again.
And that's the second one for the Knights so far, whereas Cairn hasn't had any service errors so far. Granted, they haven't had a whole lot of opportunities to do so.
Great work by Kaipo Tagaloa. A little bit just right in that neutral zone of that net. Could have gone either way, but Tagaloa getting a left hand on it and putting it down for Southern Virginia. Now we get to see Noel Recabaran, the sophomore from San Juan, Argentina, back to serve for this Knights team. And when you say he hits hard, that's an understatement. Blocked down. That's Colby Wilson and Kaipo Tagaloa getting their hands on that one. First block for Southern Virginia, and the first block we've seen today between both squads. Colby Wilson, known for being able to do that, always knows what space he needs to be in at the right time. And
kind of going back to Noel Rickabaran here, we talked about his athletic ability, but I also want to talk about how great of a learner he is both on and off the court. And when he came here to Southern Virginia University last year, he didn't speak English at all. But since then, he's just around campus talking to everybody, and he's very capable in English as well, and volleyball has built up as well. He's improved in his clutch ability as a young player, and just in all the small technical things that he was sort of lacking last year. He's gotten so much better, and again, just a student of the game overall.
And Dawson, more than just a student of the game, Recabaran is a student of life, an aspect that most of us would strive to even have the patience to do, but Recabaran does it day in and day out. Now we see him again to serve for the third straight time for Southern Virginia. Spike down, that's number 7, Ryan Ludwig getting a hand on that one. Daniel Aina tried to get down for the dig. Too strong coming up in the hands of Ludwig.
And that actually hit off one of our sideline cameras, but it looks like they're okay over there.
Service by Ben Norton, too long. So Knights regain the ball, and Colby Wilson will make his way back for service.
And that gives the Highlanders their first service error of this game.
If you watch Colby Wilson serve, has a really unorthodox looking serve, but it gets the job done. The last game against Newman, he led the team in service aces, had right around 4 throughout that game, and he didn't play the entire third set. See Cougar Clark powering that one home for Southern Virginia. SVU now with a formidable lead at the beginning of this first set, 14-4 over top of the Highlanders of Cairn.
You mentioned Colby Wilson's unorthodox form. Most servers, they'll wind their hand back and it'll be like right behind their head before they strike, whereas Colby Wilson, he kind of pushes it in front of him, kind of smacks it in front of him, and it's very different, but like you said, it just gets the job done.
We call it unorthodox, but it always gets the job done and works. Colby Wilson, third straight service. And there, Colby Wilson picking up a service ace. So the first service ace of tonight for Southern Virginia goes down in the books for Colby Wilson.
In for the Knights, number 6, Taylor Bauer.
Hey, Dawson, I apologize. That's the second service ace of tonight. Both of them going to Colby Wilson today.
So like we said, that unorthodox form working out well for him.
At that time, number 10 of Cairn, Scott Basil, spiking it down. Get Cairn on the board. Back to serve number 13. This is Colin Benjamin. Benjamin, the sophomore from Langhorne, Pennsylvania. Cougar Clark looked like that one might have gone long, but number 5, Ben Norton, elected to try to get a hand on that one. Either way, point goes down for Southern Virginia, and now we can see number 8, Kaipo Tagaloa, the assist per set leader on this night's team. He's also top 10 in the nation in assists per set, averages right around 9.
He's another one of these players on this night's team that just is a quiet leader, which is kind of surprising considering how social of a guy he is. You see him all over campus, and he seems like he's friends with everybody. You know, just a very friendly guy, very social. And it shows his ability to spread the ball around. He's able to spread his socialness around. He spreads the ball around on the court.
And Dawson, just want to mention something about this night's team. No one is selfish. Such an unselfish squad. When you ask questions, whether it be Colby Wilson, Noel Reckabarn, Elijah Mallory, I heard a couple days ago, asking what can you attribute their success to, it almost inevitably goes down to Kaipo Tagaloa and the work that he puts in at putting the ball in the correct position, in the perfect place for them to get a hand on it, put it down for a kill. Southern Virginia getting on the board again. Cougar Clark back to serve for the second straight time. Knights now lead 19-6 over top of the Highlanders of Cairn. And again, if Southern Virginia wins this one, they'll make it 10 wins in a row for their program.
Looks like an early rotation there by Cairn. That gives the point to SVU.
Definitely not what you want to see if you're head coach Nate Seidel of the Cairn Highlanders. We get to see Cougar Clark back to serve for a third straight time. That one going into the net. So Cairn puts up another point on the board. Now 7-20. Southern Virginia handling this game completely so far throughout this first set.
Yeah, they really have. And again, it's due to the kills from Cougar Clark and Mark Stapley. Cougar having 4, Mark Stapley having 2. And again, also those service aces. You see the high fly ability of Noel Reckabarn. And just he gets so high that he can just hit it straight down into the ground. And that is very hard to do. It might look easy on the screen, but it is definitely not easy.
I was just about to mention the fact that Reckabarn only had 1 kill to that point, that being his second. And boy, put it down in an emphatic fashion. You mentioned the leaping ability, the ability to get up, and you see him put his hand back. He could probably touch his own ankle when he's up there to be able to put it down. Another point goes down for Southern Virginia. That time, Elijah Mallory putting that one down for a block.
You know, you talk about Noel Reckabarn and his kills. I mean, you don't even have to be watching the game to know whose kill it was just by the sound of it. His is obviously the loudest one that will happen just because, again, how high he gets and how thunderous of a noise it makes when he smacks it right onto the ground. It's just impressive.
Not only that, Dustin, most players can't get high enough to spike it down within the first third of the opposition side of the court. Reckabarn gets up so high, he can look down to where he wants to put it and put it right there. And it usually falls right at the feet of middle blockers. There's nothing they can do about it. Mark Stapley back to serve for Southern Virginia. It'd be blocked down by Elijah Mallory and Kaipo Tagaloa, with that one falling just shy and out of bounds. So point goes to Cairn.
And back to serve
And back to serve for the Highlanders, number 6, John Simpson. John Simpson, a junior from Lebanon, Pennsylvania. Elijah Mowry spiking that one home. Don't know if you can hear it through your set at home, but Elijah Mowry, as soon as that ball set up by Kaibo Tagaloa, you heard him audibly say, "Oh yeah," and then just put it down for Southern Virginia. He knew it was right where he wanted it. He could do whatever he wanted with that ball. And now we see a set point opportunity for Southern Virginia. First, the attack by Cairn. That one hit out of bounds, so Southern Virginia claims set 1 to the tune of 20. Or rather, they'll say it's tipped. That's my bad, Dawson. Looked like it fell out of bounds, but they'll say it was tipped off a couple of hands of the Knights. That's my apologies on that last call.
And to that Elijah Mowry play where he said, "Oh yeah, he had this." That's what most teams call one play, and that's so hard to time right because there's so little prep time to get up in the air for the middle blocker that's right there, and it's not set very high. It's just like a small window of time for him to get up there and get that accurate of a hit.
There it is. Cougar Clark now picking up the first set for Southern Virginia to the tune of 25-10. So SU pulls ahead 1-0 over top of the Highlanders of Cairn in emphatic fashion in that first set off the hands of Cougar Clark.
Yeah, he led the team in kills in that set with 5, and then Mark Stapley, Rekabarin, and Mowry each had 2 of their own. And then Kaipo Tagaloa having 1. So everybody getting involved. Kaipo Tagaloa had 9 assists in that set. And, I mean, overall, SU just dominated that first set. Cairn had a couple of things that they were doing okay, but overall, they just weren't quite there in that first set. Maybe we'll look forward to seeing Cairn have more of an impact in the second set.
And Dawson, an interesting stat that we see here. Cairn having 2 more total attacks than Southern Virginia, 18-16. But the hit percentage for Southern Virginia over 750. So Southern Virginia not having maybe the amount of attacks they'd like to have, but getting it done when the opportunity arises. Just great proficiency shown by Tom Peterson's squad.
It absolutely is, and you mentioned the 2 more attacks by Cairn only coming away with 5 kills. And so to have those many opportunities to only come away with that many kills can be kind of disheartening going through a set. But Cairn just needs to rebound, do things that they know they can do well, and rebound in the second set.
Southern Virginia also racking up 3 service aces in that last set and 11 assists compared to Cairn's only 5 assists and no service aces so far for the Highlanders. Just overall dominance shown in every aspect and branch of the game we've seen so far by Southern Virginia. With this breaking the action, just want to thank you so much for joining us here on the Knights Sports Network. We like to mention it throughout our broadcast. KSN, the first fully student-run broadcasting organization here at Southern Virginia University, and we couldn't do it at all without your support and the support of the fans here at the barn and at home watching on our live telecast.
And speaking of the Knights Sports Network, I just want to have a special birthday shout-out to our executive producer, Asher Weidrich. His birthday is tomorrow. He's going to turn 24 years old. He's done so much to help this broadcasting program become what it is so far, becoming the Knights Sports Network. He started off at BYU, working for BYU Sports Nation, got a lot of great experience here, came over here to start this program, and has done a fine job. Happy birthday, bud. We love you.
Dawson, this game being the first of 2 for SVU Knights men's volleyball today. First one being played today against Cairn, and then later tonight at 7, they'll play against the club team of Liberty. So a jam-packed day for the Knights of the SVU men's volleyball team. 2 games, 2 formidable opponents, and right now in this game they lead 1-0 over top of the Highlanders of Cairn. We'll see if Southern Virginia can continue their dominance heading into this second set.
Well, SVU's ideal situation, especially for today and the packed schedule, as you said, that they'll have, they will want to come out of the set with a sweep. Of course, that's what every team wants. But with a sweep, it gives you a little bit more time for rest, give you more time to prep and prepare for the next game against, like you mentioned, the club team of Liberty University. And that will make all the difference because Liberty University isn't a joke. They're quite a formidable team, like you mentioned. And the Knights will really have to be on their A game in order to come in with a victory over them tonight.
Liberty being a Division I squad, and we here at Southern Virginia, of course, NCAA Division III, so it'd be a battle of wills heading into the game at 7 o'clock. Definitely excited to have it here.
Starting us off with serve number
To get
8,
things started again here in this second set, Kaipo Tagaloa back to serve for Southern Virginia. Tagaloa Jr. from Lincoln, Nebraska. So he has another year in a Knight uniform, and Coach Tom Peterson and a lot of his players or his teammates are definitely glad to have him back for the next year. And Cairn putting the first point down for the Highlanders.
Number 7, Ryan Ludwig.
Now back to serve number 7, Ryan Ludwig. Smart play. Cougar Clark looked like he was going to hammer it home with everything he got. Instead, just tipped it over right into the heart of the squad of the Highlanders. Puts point up for Southern Virginia.
And the miscommunication by Ryan Ludwig and Ben Norton was the cause of that. Both of them were in perfect position to get to that. I think Ryan Ludwig more so because it was in front of him. But due to the lack of communication, that's what caused that point to take place.
That serve by Cougar Clark, too strong, out of bounds. So Cairn holding a 2-1 lead so far over Southern Virginia, but we said it before in the broadcast, the Southern Virginia team always seems to start slow within a set, but once they pick up steam, they're almost unstoppable. First attack of the second set for Southern Virginia ends in a kill. That one goes down in the stat sheet of number 32, Elijah Mowry. Elijah Mowry, a middle blocker. He's a sophomore from Marsing, Idaho, and when given the opportunity on this Knight squad, he delivers every single time. We saw him a couple games ago against Marymount have a whale of a game, hitting an incredible hitting percentage. He's looking to carry that success he had against Marymount Saints, bring it here against the Highlanders.
And I think with that game, again, we mentioned how it was kind of in place for Noel Riccobarna. He really proved himself and his capabilities, what he can do for this squad. Again, being a top 10 ranked team. So it's not easy to prove yourself in a situation like that, but he was able to do so.
That one caught the hands of Mark Stapley, and Knights number 6, Taylor Bowers, but unfortunately falls out of bounds. So it'll be a point down for Cairn. It's now 3-all. As you saw in that last play, number 6, Taylor Bowers, Dawson. Taylor Bowers in the last game against Newman really proved himself. Haven't seen him too much here in the barn at Knight Arena, but when given the opportunity, like a lot of the bench players for Tom Peterson's squad, absolutely thrives and shines in that environment. Loves when the limelight is on him and just thrives basically with that pressure.
Yeah, he really does. And I mean, like you mentioned, a lot of teams on this squad. I mean, Coach Peterson has done a great job putting together a team that is full of capable players. I mean, obviously the best ones for the majority of the time being on the court, but he has so many players that are so capable at any moment to go and win whenever needed.
Service error by Southern Virginia means it's Highlander ball. We'll see number 6, John Simpson checking in for number 5, Ben Norton. And as Simpson comes in, he'll line up behind the line for service for the Highlanders. It's tied up 4-4. Bowers spiking that one down with authority, so not having the greatest game up to that point, changing the narrative with that spike.
And that's the play he ran to perfection multiple times last night against the Knights in Newman College, the pin play. He did it 3 times, was able to do it just right there. And if you're wondering what that is, folks, that's when he gets a running start, jumps off of one foot, and gets to that perfect angle across the court.
That one spiked down. That's number 9, Anton DeLeon. I haven't mentioned his name too much in this broadcast, but he is the leader in kills and kills per set for this Highlander squad. So surprised we haven't heard much of his name so far, but now he's making his presence shown on that last play. That serve by number 8, Justin Walgamuth, sent him to orbit. That one far out of bounds. So the point goes to Southern Virginia. And back serve for them. That's number 6, Taylor Bowers. Bowers picks up the service ace. Some deliberation between the sideline officials say that one just fell right on the line. So point goes down for Southern Virginia, and they take a 2-point lead.
That one couldn't have been any closer. Like you said, it was right on the line. A beautiful serve from Taylor Bowers. Not sure if he intended it to be on that side, but it worked out.
Cougar Clark spiking it down with authority. Came too far over the net for Cougars' liking. So Knights pull ahead now. 3-point lead, 8-5 with the great spike by Cougar Clark.
And that gives him his 7th on the day.
Here comes the night attack. Blocked down by a host of Highlanders, so Cairn picks up another point. And Dawson, if I'm not mistaken, that's their first successful block of tonight's match.
Yeah, number 9, Anton DeLeon. I mean, it was an incredible block. But most blocks you wanted to go straight down, but that one, fortunately for them, went off to the side where no other Knight player was at. And so there's no way anyone could recover that one.
Rekha Barn putting it down in the far right corner. If you looked in the faces of all the Highlander players there, no one wanted a part of that. Such a hard hit by Rekha Barn.
That from the middle of the court, too. I mean, that's just, again, we mentioned his leaping abilities so much, and it just is on display every single time that he goes up there for a kill.
Night attack. Rekha Barron hammering it down again. Number 6, John Simpson couldn't get a hand on that one. Rekha Barron putting another one down in his name. With that last kill, Dawson, Rekha Barron now has 3 kills on the night, tied with Elijah Mowry for second. Paul Clark, or Cougar Clark rather, instead having 7 on tonight. Great dig by number 10, Scott Basil. Cairn still alive so far. Here comes the night attack, Tagaloa. Mark Stapley with authority off the assist from Tagaloa.
Again, it's that one play that's so tricky to do. And that just shows the chemistry of this team, how often they practice that. Getting that very quick set up in the air and the quick setup by Mark Stapley and able to throw it down.
You see a timeout taken by head coach Nate Seidel of Cairn and Dawson. If you're head coach Tom Peterson of Southern Virginia Knights so far, your team has played to absolute perfection. But what is one thing maybe you could point out that you want them to do a little bit better?
I think, and this is being nitpicky because, again, like you mentioned, the Knights have playing pretty dang well. It's just some serves. Service errors have been there. They've had 7 so far. But on the opposite side of the spectrum, they've had 4 service aces. And so it's been kind of hit and miss for them. They've had great serves, and then they've had serves out of bounds or into the net. And so just clean that up a little bit, and then you'd have yourself basically a perfect game. Because they have 0 reception errors right now, and only 1 attack error. So basically not really much else you can be doing much better. Again, just serving.
Great inside Dawson with that. Teams will make their way back onto the court. Southern Virginia leads 11-6 here in the second set. They lead 1-0 in total game score so far. See if any new faces make their way onto the court as Tom Peterson and his guys look to get things started again in the second set. Doesn't look like anyone new, but Kaipo Tagaloa will be back behind the line for first service for Southern Virginia.
And Kaipo is one of, if not the best server on this team. He's got great form. He's got great power behind his serves.
Shown evident there, Kaipo Tagaloa, when called upon, picks up the service ace for Southern Virginia. That brings the Knights up to 5 service aces on tonight, and Tagaloa himself picking up his first.
That ball just barely flying by my head, Chris. I'm okay, though, just in case you're wondering.
Attack by the Highlanders. Great dig, Tagaloa. Another dig by Tagaloa. Knight still alive.
I just want people back home to appreciate how hard of a dig that was for Kaipo Tagaloa. The power that was on that hit coming towards him, for him to get it softly to go into the air, is be easily manageable for them to get set up an attack. It's astoundingly hard. It takes years of practice to get even close to doing that.
On the last play, called a net violation against Rekha Barron. But now we see a night attack. Tagaloa. Mark Stapley hammering it down. That one going off the hands of number 5, Ben Norton, as well as number 13, Colin Benjamin for the Highlanders. And now we see Cougar Clark lined up behind the line for service for Southern Virginia. He's done really well so far, has 1 service ace on tonight. Great block from Mark Stapley. So after getting The kill on the other end puts another block in his name. Mark Stapley now, his first block of the game.
And that was just a textbook blocking for him. It went almost straight down to the ground. And I mentioned Kaipo serving and how he's one, if not the best server on the team. If he's not, then Kruger Clark.
And Kruger Clark picking up his second service ace there on that last play to pull the Knights ahead 15-7. Over top of the Highlanders of Cairn, and checking in for the Knights, Cooper Anderson. Put another one down for Cougar Clark. Now has 3 service aces on tonight. 2 of them coming just within the last 2 services.
And again, it's just because of that great power that he has on there, it's so hard to manage and to set up a play there for Cairn.
And Dawson, with that last service ace, that makes 3 of the Knights' last 5 points from service aces. That one goes down for the Highlanders. Back to serve for them, number 10, Scott Basil.
For the Highlanders, number 10, Scott Basil.
That was another great block. Didn't go straight down, but went off to the side again where there was no Knights players whatsoever.
Basil service into that, so another service error goes down for the Highlanders of Cairn. Now brings their total. They have 4 service errors, and Dawson, compare that with the Knights. Southern Virginia has 7 service aces. And Dawson, I apologize, it's now 5 service errors for the Highlanders of Cairn. Too far over the net for number 13, Colin Benjamin, who spikes that one back down for the Highlanders, and he'll make his way behind the line for service for Cairn. Also checking in for them, number 9, that was Anton Deline. You just saw there on your screen. Again, the go-to guy for this Highlander squad in terms of attacks and kills. Service too long by Benjamin.
And I think the main thing with Cairn right now is, again, they've done some things right. They've started to take advantage of some of those mistakes that SU has had. It's just right away after they get those points, they have service errors. And so they just got to take advantage of those opportunities that they haven't been able to up to this point.
Look like almost tonight to pick up another service ace, but now they have an attack. Highlanders still alive. And that hit by number 5, Ben Norton, goes right into the net. So Southern Virginia puts another one on the board. They now lead 19-9 over top of the Highlanders.
And again, all due to the perfectly run pin play on this near side.
You just saw number 6, Taylor Bowers, on your screen there. Dawson, that pin play seems to be the favorite play for Taylor Bowers to run.
Well, looks like he's one of the guys who can run it the best on this team. And so when you have somebody with that skill set, you use it to the point where it's almost sounds like a broken record. But hey, if it's a broken record that works, keep playing it.
Most frustrating thing in sports is when you know what the opposition will do, but you still can't stop. And with that, Southern Virginia picks up another point against the Highlanders account. Now bring it 20-9 here in this second set. Southern Virginia running away with this second set.
And not only is it technically difficult to beat someone that you know is going to do something, but they just keep being successful at it, it's mentally and emotionally disheartening. It's like in football. If you know a team's going to run the ball every single time, but yet they still are successful, it wears you down physically, mentally, emotionally, and Cairn needs to avoid that here in the second set.
And Dawson, that can also play into the strengths of Tom Peterson's squad. If you just come to one of these matches and you look at the bench depth compared to Southern Virginia and other squads like Newman we saw yesterday and Cairn today, Southern Virginia has at least 7 or 8 guys on the bench ready and waiting to go compared to other squads who really only have 3 or 4 guys on the bench. So the Knights have fresher legs, fresher minds, like you mentioned, with the mental fatigue that can go in with playing a team like the Knights that can run the same play over and over and over and still manage to beat you. Great dig, Daniel Aina, keep this Knights attack alive. That was blocked by Cooper Anderson and Taylor Bowers, but it would just fall out of bounds. So Cooper Anderson trying to get his hand on it and the end of it. And Dawson, Cooper Anderson, a sophomore from Schertz, Texas, usually comes in as a designated server, but in recent games and the last time we saw against Newman, he's moved to that outside hitter spot. And despite not having the size that other outside hitters have, like Rekka Barn, like Capisi, and others. He gets the job done, and he does what Coach Tom Peterson wants him to do on the floor.
Yeah, he really does. I mean, like you mentioned, he doesn't have quite the height or the size, but he has the decent amount of athletic ability that can help him be a benefactor to this team in that position. And also, when you're in a situation like this, when you're winning the second set as you are with SVU, against a team like Cairn who has been struggling, you have a chance to put in players like Cooper Anderson besides just serving. You know, you can go in there and explore a little bit with the position and see what works from what doesn't, and that's exactly what they're doing right now.
Last point on the board goes down for Christian Capisi, and then we saw Cooper Anderson back to serve. Now we see number 9, Anton DeLeon of the Highlanders, spiking that one down. And Dawson, when they go to DeLeon, it seems to be the same kind of play. The setter is right next to him, sets it up a short ball right over top of the net, and DeLeon just gets up higher than most and puts it right back down, almost back at a 90-degree angle, back at the feet of the middle blockers of Southern Virginia.
Yeah, that also just shows his jumping athletic ability. And we were talking about Christian Capisi earlier. We mentioned last night against Newman that it was his first game back from injury all season, this being his second. And so I feel like him and DeLeon are a great matchup for each other. They're very similar length. I mean, Christian's a little bit lengthier than DeLeon is. Both very similar players.
That point goes down for the Highlanders. They've now cut this lead. It's still the Knights up 22-14, but you have to be a little bit proud of what Cairn has done in the last couple of points, able to bring it back, because it really was a runaway game for Southern Virginia. And just as I say that, Southern Virginia picks up a point. Another service error by Cairn now brings their total of service errors to 7 service errors on tonight. Knights have 8 service errors and 7 service aces.
I think we mentioned it's been a back-and-forth affair for SVU. They've had a lot of several service errors, but at the same time, almost an equal amount of service aces to make up for it.
And right there, Dawson, we see another service ace picked up by Southern Virginia. That one going for the hands of Christian Capisi, his first service ace of tonight. And Dawson, you mentioned Christian Capisi. His first game back was last night against Newman. This is now his second game of the season. He's a sophomore from Pagapoga, American Samoa. 6'7". He's a lengthy outside hitter. He can do what Rekka Barn does. He can do what Paul Clark does, but has that reach and always plays with a smile on his face. Doesn't matter if he misses a shot or if he has a wide open kill right into the feet of the defenders. He always picks it up. And with that last one by Christian Capisi, the Knights take set number 2, and they'll take a break here.
Yeah, and I feel like that. You mentioned Christian Capisi, just smiling guy. That's who he is off the court as well. I mean, just a great guy. Again, you mentioned the win by SVU in that second set. Just doing a great job overall. Great serving. A couple of errors now and then, but overall just great teamwork. Got a chance to have some substitutions in. Great second set.
And with that, we'll take a short break. We thank you so much for joining us on the Knights Sports Network. We'll bring you back as soon as the third and hopefully final set for Tom Peterson and the Southern Virginia Knights gets underway. Thank you so much. We welcome you back to the Nine Arena as our coverage of SVU men's volleyball continues. Right now, the Knights of Southern Virginia holding a 2-0 lead over top of the Highlanders of Cairn. Chris Fly alongside Dawson Weidrich. And Dawson, it's been all night so far, all day.
It really has. We were just talking about the hit percentage of some of these players. I mean, Kruger Clark has a 600 hit percentage. Mark Stabley, 714. Now Rick Martin, 400. 750, 100, or 1,003. I mean, all these players hitting at great hitting percentages all over the floor for SVU. And we mentioned the serves that have been happening. I mean, again, back and forth for them. They've had 8 service errors and 8 service aces to go along with it. So matching their good with their bad. But overall, the Knights are doing a great job, whereas Cairn has had struggles with their attacks. They've had 40 attacks and only 12 kills. And they've had 8 attack errors, whereas SVU's only had 3.
And also you compare those numbers between the Highlanders and the Knights. If you took the person or the player on this Highlander team that leads their team in kills, they would be 4th if they played for SVU so far. We just saw Kruger Clark hammering another one down in his name. He now brings his kill count. He had 8 on today's game, and he's back to serve for Southern Virginia, not to mention the 3 great service aces he's had tonight. Just as I say that, the serve from Kruger Clark, that one goes long. So the Highlanders tied up 1-1, and back serve for them, number 11, Aaron Delbury.
That's the drawback of having a super powerful service. Sometimes they can get away from you and go out of bounds like that, but it ends up working out for them.
Both teams exchange service errors, and Southern Virginia takes back over as if nothing happened. And back to serve for SVU, number 32, Elijah Mowry.
And that's been kind of the story for Cairn today. I mean, they've had things go their way, but then the very next play, they will have a service error or a hitting error. That doesn't quite work out, and they'll just give a point right back to the Knights. And so every time it goes back Cairn's way, it just swings right back to SVU.
Off that service ace from Elijah Mowry, and that brings the Knights count to 9 service aces on tonight, as well as 9 service errors. That one being the first service ace for Elijah Mowry on tonight. Kruger Clark couldn't get down quick enough to get his hands on that one to be a point for the Highlanders, but great hustle shown by this Knight squad to try to get down to that.
Definitely great hustle. It's everything you want to see from as a coach for a volleyball player. You want to see your players on the floor diving for every possible opportunity and sacrificing their body.
Dawson, especially when your team has dominated the way that Southern Virginia has today. Again, they're up 2 sets to none over top of the Highlanders of Cairn, and to risk diving like that to try to go to the ball when you've been so dominant, it's just great to see that the hustle never slows down between set number 1 and the final hit match point.
And just to inform the fans of that last play, whenever, especially in low ceiling buildings such as this one in Knight Arena, if the ball is about to go over the net and it touches the ceiling, even scrapes it, the rule is they have to call it out of bounds. The team that last touched it, so that's why they give the point to the Knights.
And then Christian Capisi picking up another service ace for this SVU team. Now brings their total. They have 10 service aces on tonight, and Christian Capisi owning 2 of those by himself. And just like that, he picks up another one in his name. So Christian Capisi now 3 service aces on tonight, and Knights have 11 for their team.
Christian Capisi's face after that serve was pretty funny. He jumped a little early, and so like hit on the way down and without a lot of force. And he was surprised that it worked out for him, and that one being a little too strong, trying to overcompensate for the last one.
And he was surprised on that one, too. As soon as he left his hands, you heard him gasp. Really, you could hear it here at Knight Arena. So on that last hit, the Highlanders pick up a point. It's now 3-6. Southern Virginia still up, and back to serve for the Highlanders. Number 6, John Simpson. How about Cooper Anderson getting that one to fall? Cooper Anderson picks up a kill in his name, and now he backs up behind the line for service for Southern Virginia. Cooper Anderson known as a server. That's what he usually does in Tom Peterson's squad. And that time, Taylor Bowers picking up another quick point for the Knights of Southern Virginia.
That's a hard thing when you're receiving a serve. You know, service receiving is just one of the most difficult things, especially against powerful servers, where number 15, Cooper Anderson, isn't necessarily extremely powerful in his serves, but the main thing as when you receive those, you want to get them straight up in the air. And Cairn has had a hard time doing that today. So a couple times that's where it's happened, they've gone back over to SVU, and it's just waiting for either players like Noel Rickabarin or number 6, Taylor Bowers, to just throw it right back down.
And to add to the great serving numbers of tonight, Cooper Anderson picking up a service ace on that last play. We saw the ball hit the back of the basketball backboard. The referees will call that out of bounds there. That one falls in, and Cougar Clark picking up another kill in his name. Now brings his total to 9 on tonight. And it'll force head coach Knight Seidel of the Highlanders to take a timeout because his team right now getting throttled by the Southern Virginia squad.
Well, again, SVU just doing everything right, and Cairn makes some small mistakes that SVU is taking advantage of. Just want to take a moment to appreciate the effort of our line judge on the left side. The past 4 plays, she's been almost hit 3 out of those 4 times, having to duck or dive out of the way while still having to make a call as to where the ball landed. And so it just shows the bravery that goes into that job.
And we definitely appreciate all that they do, and to be able to have the wit and composure about you to both dodge a ball coming from Cougar Clark and call it in at the same time. She might have called it in strictly out of fear of how fast it was coming at her.
She knows the 5 rules of dodgeball: duck, dive, dodge, and dodge. She said dodge twice. I don't know the exact phrasing, but you know what I mean, Chris.
Right now, Southern Virginia leads 10-3 over top of the Highlanders of Cairn, and it's been an all Southern Virginia game so far, taking the first 2 sets with ease, and now in this third, and what looks like will be final set for Southern Virginia. The momentum has really carried over, and their dominance has continued. We'll get things started again. It'll be number 15, Cooper Anderson of Southern Virginia, back to serve. Cooper Anderson so far has 1 service ace on tonight. Just as I say that, make that 2. Cooper Anderson keeping the perfection behind the line going for this SVU Knight squad. Dawson now brings, they have 12 service aces on tonight. And just as I say that, they have 13. Took a little bit of time for my iPad to buffer. Another point goes down for Southern Virginia. That's a double hit on the Highlanders. So now Cooper Anderson back to serve for what I believe might be the 4th or 5th time behind that line. This one could be played. We see that play. They play it to number 9, Anton DeLeon. Does it every single time. Just a short set right to the big 6'5" middle blocker in DeLeon and just puts it down.
And the perfect form again. He just has his hand right by his ear, ready to throw it down onto SU's side of the court. Like you mentioned, done that multiple times today and been very successful with that same play. I believe that one hit the ground when number 7, Ryan Ludwig, was diving for, and so the refs just decided to call it was on the floor. Actually,
not exactly sure what that last play call was. Hope to get that information to you as soon as possible. Nevertheless, action is underway here at Knight Arena. And that hit coming off the hands of number 7, Ryan Ludwig, falls out of bounds. Point goes to Southern Virginia, and now Southern Virginia leads 13-4 over top of the Highlanders. Now we see number 32, Elijah Mowry, checking into this game. He came in for number 95, Andrew Fanua. Fanua, a sophomore from Salt Lake City, Utah. And despite not getting the minutes compared to these other guys like the seniors, Andrew Fanua, when he comes in, serves the ball with such strength and ease.
And he's just a very composed guy. That's the same thing with a lot of these players here on SVU. You have all these quiet, composed, and calm, collected guys that just make the right plays at the right time and just do their job.
Dawson, more than that, all these Knights players, they're team guys. No one is an individual on this SVU men's volleyball squad. Kaipo Tagaloa having his wits about one, tipped that one over. Everyone here in Knight Arena thought he was going to set it. Instead, tips it over with the right hand and picks up a quick point for Southern Virginia. And with that, he'll make his way behind the line for service. Kaipo Tagaloa on tonight already has 1 service ace to his name. He'd definitely look to add to that and add to the Knights' amazing run of 13 service aces tonight.
And that last hit that he had, it couldn't have been better placed. I mean, he just put it right in this near corner here where, again, nobody was at. Both teams been able to do that quite a few times today, just have perfect placement, but Kaipo having that play.
And that last call on the floor would have been, it was a net violation by number 13, Colin Benjamin. And you hear the cheers coming around Knight Arena. That's because Tyler McCready, the dual athlete here at Southern Virginia, basketball player and volleyball player, checks his way into this game against the Highlanders of Cairn. Point goes to Cairn as that spike coming from Capisi just hit the rod on top of the net.
This bench for SVU just loves their basketball inputs into their team. Tyler McCready, that last play, they come in screaming, set it to Tyler, set it to Tyler. That's exactly what they're screaming. We'll maybe see that here in the next few plays.
Hopefully will. And right now, Southern Virginia leads 16-6. And back to serve for the Knights is Cougar Clark. Cougar Clark, we've mentioned him before in today's broadcast, leads the Southern Virginia squad in kills, has 9 of them. Also leads in service aces. He's tied with Christian Capisi with 3 apiece. And just as I say that, a service error goes down for Cougar Clark and the Knights, and Cairn gets the ball back and puts another point on the board. Now 7-16, the 10th ranked Knights of Southern Virginia still up 16-7. Tyler McCready hitting that one, but blocked by the tandem of number 13, Colin Benjamin, and number 8, Justin Wogelmuth.
That's not something that Tyler McCready's used to, being blocked, being 6'10", the height advantage that he has. That last set was just a little bit low for him to take advantage of his height.
Dawson, you mentioned the height advantage. Tyler McCready had the height advantage during a basketball season here for Southern Virginia, and he has a massive height advantage over top of everyone here on this Cairn squad. The tallest player being number 9, DeLeon at 6'5". Tyler McCready, 6'10", if not 6'11". First serve for Tyler McCready now. Point goes down for the Highlanders of Cairn. They'll just say one of the Knights players got their hand too far under that ball. And with that, Tyler McCready make his way to the bench, and Andrew Fanua will come in for head coach Tom Peterson's squad.
Well, they called that on Cougar Clark because it was in that area where it's in between a bump or a set, and he kind of had to put his thumbs underneath it to lift it up, and that's what they called him for. Great
work by Kaipo Tagaloa to keep that attack alive. Blocked down. Christian Capisi with a solo block over top of number 8, Justin Wogelmuth of the Highlanders. So Capisi puts his name on the scorecard yet again. He'll back up behind the line for service again. Christian Capisi, 3 service aces on tonight, tied with Cougar Clark. And he adds a dig to his name. Christian Capisi absolutely everywhere on the floor.
That's just a great one-handed dig right there. I mean, just barely able to reach his hand out and set the play up.
Ball falls back to the Knights. They'll say that it hit the ceiling on his way over the net. So point goes to Southern Virginia. Cairn won't have an opportunity to defend that oncoming attack. And now Christian Capisi back to serve again for Southern Virginia.
And they have to call it, even if it just barely scrapes the ceiling, just to keep the rule as fair as possible, so there's no debate about it.
Served by Capisi goes into the net, and now the Highlanders get the ball back. It's a 19-10 game. Number 10, Southern Virginia is still ahead by 9. Simpson backs up for service for the Cairn Highlanders. Christian Capisi hit that one with authority, but it just falls right out of bounds. Point goes to the Highlanders of Cairn. It's now an 8-point game.
I like what SU was trying to do there. They did the fake pin play to Taylor Bowers. He's been successful with that a couple times, but instead they had Christian Capisi come from the back row up the side. Just unfortunately hit it too far to the outside.
Cooper Anderson with authority. The sophomore from Schertz Tech punching it down hard for Southern Virginia.
All I can say about that is that was nice. That was very nice.
And Cooper Anderson will be back to serve for Southern Virginia. And Cougar Clark makes his way to the bench, the senior from Centerville, Ohio. And he'll make way for number 11 on this night's team, another dual athlete, Bennett Canlin, formerly on the basketball team, the junior from Carlisle, Pennsylvania. But back to serve will be Cooper Anderson, the sophomore from Schertz, Texas. Point goes to Southern Virginia. A little bit of miscommunication on the Highlander side of things. So Cooper Anderson will be back to serve for a second straight time for the Southern Virginia squad. And now it's 21-11, 10-point lead for the SVU Knights. Dig goes to Tagaloa. Bowers hitting it over with the left hand. That one falls out of bounds. Point goes Southern Virginia. Southern Virginia now leads by 11. It's 22-11. Third set, Cooper Anderson back to serve for a third straight time.
SU players able to get up really fast after 3 of them collided with each other trying to get the dig and falling on the ground and able to save that play.
SVU picking up another point there. It just seems that those last couple of points, the Highlanders of Cairn not able to get their attack started. Their errors on the attack has climbed exponentially throughout the last couple of points. That one killed down by the Highlanders. That's number 7, Ryan Ludwig, spiking that one down for Cairn.
And that gives Ryan Ludwig his 3rd kill of the day. And Ludwig also has 4 assists on the day.
A service ace picked up by the Highlanders of Cairn. They've been few and far between. And finally pick up one in Dawson. That's the first service ace of tonight for the Cairn Highlanders. It goes down for number 8, Justin Wogelmuth.
It finally takes a little bit away from that deficit between service errors and service aces. They had, like he's mentioned, had 0 up to that point.
Bennett Canlin, how about that? Getting his name on the board, electing to use his left hand. It was blocked by number 9, DeLeon, but DeLeon with the block error falls out of bounds, and Bennett Canlin picks up his first point of tonight's match. And joining him, his basketball teammate Tyler McCready making his way onto the floor. Match point now for Southern Virginia. That one actually hitting the line judge. It'll be out of bounds, but it's all smiles all around. That line judge has been targeted all night.
She's been doing a good job dodging them up to that point. That one just a little bit too fast for anyone to really comprehend. It's coming at you.
Leon now. Ty McCready sends it home for Southern Virginia. That's match point for the SVU Knights off the hands of Tyler McCready. Who else but the dual athlete basketball player picking up his first point of tonight, and it's match point.
And again, we mentioned just an overall great win today for SVU. I mean, SVU dominated every single category that you can possibly imagine. Serving, kills. They had 32 kills on 53 attacks, and had some great opportunities for some younger players to get in there and make their presence known as well.
Well, that'll do it for us here at the Knight Arena. We thank you so much for joining us here on the Knight Sports Network. It's been a great game. Southern Virginia picks up the win over top of the Highlanders Cairn, but it's not their only game today. Southern Virginia men's volleyball picks up their action at 7 o'clock tonight, where they will face the Division I Liberty Flames here at Southern Virginia University. We hope to see you then. You'll join us for that. Thank you so much again for joining us here on the Knight Sports Network.